It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's time for the Shoe Shine. It's your boy Dave, now kicking it and living full-time in the 702. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, my co-host, Philly Irish Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa? How them Eagles looking?
They look good, except for the last drive because of the mistakes, but they're a team that refuses to lose.
Saludos, everybody joining us in the room. Walk with Rhonda. How them Kansas City Chiefs doing? Nando Lamas, I see you, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you let everybody know. Sometimes, we're not like at that level where people are getting alerts about our show, so sometimes they don't know. Hey, the Shoe Shine is on. It's a friendly platform. I think it's a safe space, quote unquote, for people that are boxing nerds that just want to talk about combat sports and whatever. At this point, Drew, I think even our own listeners and supporters realize maybe a little bit of that fire is gone from this show. And it started off with high expectations that 2023 was going to be a great year for boxing. And I think we're rallying into a strong finish. But was it the best year ever for the sport of boxing? Not at all, no. Right? Not only is it not even close. Not only that, but now we're going to find out today. The big news is, hey, if you were hoping to see that heavyweight unification between Tyson Fury and Usyk, put that shit on hold because that's a big delay, right? I mean, we're going to have to wait till next year, 2024. Most of us thought that anyways. But if you were hoping to see it this year, we're going to have to wait. And it's interesting, Drew, because talking about Tyson Fury and Usyk, a lot of people were saying that Tyson Fury's legs are shot and that even his own people on his own team said it took a lot out of him and he needs time to recuperate. Let's start with that story. What is this? He needs time to recuperate. Bro, I thought he wasn't even tripping off this competitor Ngannou, the former UFC guy. Now all of a sudden he needs an extended rest to get into shape again?
It's like this, Dave. Is what I said before. He wasn't in boxing shape. And to people that want to bring the stupid point that when Tyson Fury's ever been in shape, you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because it's like this. You have to be in boxing shape. He was not in boxing shape against Ngannou. He did not take this fight seriously. So when he's in a fight that he's not expected to be in, a type of fight he's not expected to be in, yeah, he's going to take an extended break. He knew, he thought he would get Ngannou out without even trying in a couple rounds. That didn't go according to plan. He did not take this fight seriously, and when you're a heavyweight, anything can happen. He wasn't in boxing shape. To the person that said, to people that said that he's never in shape and everything, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Period. You gotta be in some type of shape to fight. They ain't gonna have if you're a fat guy and everything, it doesn't take it really takes a lot. He's in some type of shape if he's able to do what he does in the ring and what he's known for doing and moving that fast and everything. So, like, to people that say when he's being in shape, guys are fucking idiots.
I appreciate everybody dropping a comment in here. Chicano Prophet, Sin City Syndicate, Ryan, Rhonda with their, congratulations to the Chiefs. And I don't say that lightly because I absolutely hate Patrick Mahomes. But Drew, they got the job done against the Dolphins. I'm excited to cover that this Wednesday night on Tailgate Talk Week 10.
But you know what? They almost blew the lead against the Dolphins.
Well, we'll bring that up this Wednesday if Rhonda wants to call. Reminder, guys, today feels like a slow week in the sport of boxing. It's the beginning of November. We're almost at the very end. I just brought it 2023. It's coming to an end very soon. And a lot of us are already thinking about, maybe you get anxiety, but a lot of us are thinking about, oh shit, the holidays are upon us. How do we squeeze in the things we enjoy with family coming to town? Or maybe you're going somewhere and you're like, oh, I got to get my travel plans. And for me, ironically, we got this big Saturday planned the day after, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I'm lucky enough to be going to that David Benavidez fight. So I have that to look forward to. I'm actually still on the fence about actually going to the Shakur Stevenson fight because it looks like there's plenty of seats abound, including for media. And if you're willing to deal with all the F1 race nonsense the night before F1 gets underway, then you probably might have a good time. And I'm still waiting to hear word, guys. I don't even know. Drew, have you heard anything about PBC's last fight? Because last I heard, my homies were saying, do you want to go December 9th? I know nothing about that card. December 9th, PBC?
I don't know. I have no clue what's going on with PBC and everything. Like, I've been looking at a couple of things, but they're saying it's possibly the last big fight card is probably going to be Benavidez versus Andre and everything. But I look at it like this.
Damn.
Like Khalek said, the December 9th card's off.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. That could potentially be a good thing. They were going up against Regis Prograis. And shout out to Khalek. Khalek, I heard you on your podcast. I enjoy listening to it at work. It's awesome content you guys put out there. And I know you were coming to town and for your wife's birthday, so that's why I didn't hit you up. But next time you're in town, if it's not your wife's birthday, make sure you come and kick it, and I'll buy you some drinks, man. I'd love to have a sit down with Khalek. Great content, great channel. Make sure you, in fact, this week, Khalek got some praise from some big-time boxing people. If you want to drop it and self-gloat, he got some big praise from some boxing promoters or boxing, I don't know. Always great content. Always great to see you here in the chat. All right, let's see what's going on. Boxing will officially die November 25th with Benavidez versus Andre. Let's talk about this Shakur Stevenson fight, Drew, because today I was listening to our boys on Pro Box. I was listening to Paulie Malignaggi, Timothy Bradley, and of course, Chris Algieri. And the opinion is, and probably the big opinion out there, is that Edwin De Los Santos, even though he's dangerous, a last-minute replacement to Frank Martin of PBC. Remember, guys, Frank Martin accepted and then backed out of that deal, which brings us to Edwin De Los Santos, is that he's dangerous. And because he's dangerous, will Shakur give us that classic boxing performance that's going to bore people? He is a very dangerous puncher. He's also a southpaw, Drew. Will we get the old school Shakur that just is a master of defense and says, I'm going to play it safe and just time this guy and not take any risks?
I look at it like this. Shakur can't go back now to that. If he does, it'll be a digression, to his momentum that he's been building.
Right. A step backwards.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be defensive, but he's going to be defensive enough to make him fall towards a counter shot. And then start going from there. I think Shakur has been becoming more of a counter puncher, but at the same time, he's becoming more of an aggressor too. And I think he's going to stay that way, but he's not going to throw unless he knows he's going to lay it, at least if it's a jab or not.
True, I'm giggling because apparently I see some potential drama going on between Sin City and Rhonda. And everybody know whatever's happened in other channels, it doesn't matter in here unless you're being disrespectful to Drew and I. But thank you guys. And remember, guys, if you guys want to call in, feel free. The phone line is open, 702-710-3627. But talking about that fight on Thursday, which is strange, right? It's supposed to be, I think they had great intentions, Top Rank, of leading off F1 Formula One race week. If you guys don't know, the city of Las Vegas has been prepping all year for a 3-day event. And as Calix posted here in the chat, traffic was a nightmare. Right. It's a nightmare to get from the airport to the casinos. It's a nightmare for taxi cab drivers to get around with all the road closures. It's a nightmare for people trying to make a living on Uber or just trying to make it Uber. Oh, snap. It's like the Wizard of Oz over there.
Yeah, I did a semi-magic trick.
Oh, man. I'm going to have more of my shot. You know it's going to be a slow week if I'm thinking about drinking tequila on the show. So I'm going to take this phone call real quick while Drew sets up the studio there. 510, you was on the shoe shine.
Hey, what's up, Drew? What's up, Dave? Nando, how you guys doing?
Nando, I haven't heard from you in a minute.
The
phone line, by the way, your phone sounds fantastic. Nando, you like Mac Dre? Remember Mac Dre? You're Bay Area guy.
Of course, man.
Okay.
It is. My knees. What's up, man?
Well, yeah, I've been really into. If you guys are out there, I'm telling you, it's a slow week. There's a hip hop documentary or hip hop podcast. I think it's called History of the Bay that I've been listening to. This investigative journalist put out a book. It's a guy from Portland, but he has gotten and allocated so much crime files, like the police files or whatever, the crime case of the death of Mac Dre, and I'm all wrapped up into it because we just solved in Las Vegas Tupac Shakur's murderer, right? That just happened weeks ago, and the Mac Dre case is still unresolved. And then it blows my mind as I'm listening to it how many other people from Las Vegas were potential suspects and how many crimes were committed after the Mac Dre murders, after the Mac Dre was murdered himself. So if you guys are both fans of old school Bay Area hip hop and true crime, check that shit out. I really, really am enjoying that series. And hopefully with internet sleuths, who knows, Nando, maybe people on the internet are going to figure out this crime. All right, I think Drew's back, man. But Nando's our guest here. He's our third caller. What you want to chime in on? You want to chime in on these new fights that just happened this weekend, or you want to chime in on some of the big news? Because there's so many news. There's Netflix. We haven't even got to that. Netflix is potentially looking at taking PBC and Jake Paul on a trial basis. We got Tyson Fury fight falling apart before the end of the year. We got the Shakur fight. You want to chime in on that? You tell me, Nando.
We'll start with the fight last weekend, man. Murataya, I've never really been a big fan of his. I always thought he kind of fought the level of competition. Yeah,
Raymond Murataya.
He kind of won me over a little bit, dude. Because I was kind of like a little bit of a fan of the Asabache, the guy who fought Torres, man. Like I knew he was too young for him still. Like he's still developing. I was actually surprised he even made the fight, right? But regardless of that, man, Murataya balls, man. He looked great, dude. His defense was on point. He was aggressive. He was jumping in and out. He was really impressive, man. And I'm kind of looking forward to a lot of big fights in the lightweight division, hopefully, here pretty soon.
Well, I wonder where our boy is in here, Sonteo Media in here, because, of course, he's very close to the Robert Garcia camp. I can still remember 2 or 3 fights ago where Raymond Murataya came in cold and got dropped. He got dropped. And I still, you know what? I can't get that memory out of my head. I also can't get the memory out of the other 135-pounder who's a phenomenal contender, El Camarón Cepeda, who also got dropped, I think, in the second round. These are guys that we're expecting to be world championship caliber, but I can't get the thought out of my head, Drew, that they've been dropped by lesser opposition, like by relatively unknown opposition. So I'm wondering, do you still remember that? The fact that he was dropped recently?
Yeah.
Nando, do you remember that Murataya fight where he was dropped, I think, in the first round?
Honestly, dude, I don't mind that kind of stuff, man. Like, one of the greatest of all time, man, Tito Trinidad, man, he got dropped a bunch of times and got back up, True. Nobody holds that against him, As long as they keep on getting back up, man, and keep on fighting, I'm okay with it, dude. Because it shows that they're being aggressive and they're in there, man. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, so he was in there tough this weekend. If you guys didn't catch this fight from Lake Tahoe, Top Rank on ESPN Plus. And by the way, guys, like Canelo Alvarez is in love with Lake Tahoe. And if you guys have never been to Lake Tahoe in California and the border of Nevada, it's really one of the most beautiful lakes, I think, in the entire West Coast. And you can see why Canelo Alvarez chose it for his most recent camp, being at like 6,000 feet of elevation. Just a great place to go watch a fight. I'm happy that they brought ESPN back to Lake Tahoe, Reno area. Drew, this guy he fought was 18-0. I think they have the same records. I think he had 17 knockouts, but he looked like a complete bum in there with Raymond Murataya. And Timothy Bradley was singing the highest praises, saying that he is on a collision course with Shakur Stevenson, that he's basically doing everything great. I'll start with Nando. Let's go with Nando, and then Drew, you take it over. You were impressed, Nando? You really see now, buying into the hype a little bit?
I am, dude. And, we all got to remember, he's a young guy that's still developing. And he's obviously going in the right direction, dude. That was a masterpiece performance, man. Defensively and offensively. I think what everybody's waiting for in the lightweight division to make some of these bigger fights like Zepeda versus Murataya or Murataya versus Shakur is for it to be for a title, right? So hopefully, and I'm hoping this happens soon, that Haney gives up the titles, man. Because he's kind of holding up the lightweight division. He's holding up a lot of big fights. But I really don't think Haney's going to come back down to 135. It's not in his best interest. He's already going to be a 140-pounder. I really don't know why he's holding on to those belts, but I think that's what everybody's waiting on.
It's interesting. Go ahead, Drew. I want your assessment of Raymond Murataya as a lightweight contender.
He's up there with the other ones. I can see him beating the William Zepeda right now. I don't see him beating Shakur Stevenson, or I can't see him beating Loma. Maybe I can't see him beating Jermaine Ortiz, but he's up there now and everything. And I really agree with Nando. What's Devin Haney holding up the division for? Holding the titles hostage? Like, are you hoping for a big money fight at 135 to come up to you? Or are you seeing if Bob's going to offer you a great payday for a Loma rematch or something? Like, you're already in champion in recess with the WBC, so you practically lost that belt. But you are still recognized as the WBC champion. But I just don't understand. It is a bad move for Devin to move back down to 135 because he had difficulty making 135.
Right.
And everything. So he don't even know if he's going to get past prograde yet.
No, he doesn't. Speaking of, I got to tell you, Drew, I had the best laugh listening to Bill Haney today on Coach Maliki. Bill Haney taking on callers, and it just reminded me of like a crazy shit I see on YouTube now. Like, Bill Haney doesn't need to talk to people's callers and arguing with people's callers, Drew. He just doesn't need to go that route. And I have to address this right here. I think the show was talking, it was Bill Haney wanting to address Ellie Seckbach ruining or being a lousy journalist. But somehow it just got into him arguing with callers on Coach Maliki. So go check that shit out too. Sin City Syndicate, I have to address this. Okay, I said Lake Tahoe is beautiful. I didn't say it was exciting. And Shakur Stevenson, what he does in the ring, it's quite beautiful. It's boxing perfection, but it can be boring at times to the average eye, or to people looking for a different style of fight. It can be boring, and as Lake Tahoe might be boring to some people, but it's beautiful. Yes, Drew.
I'm going to have you back on this one, Dave. Wanda, let's talk about how the Chiefs lost to the Broncos, one of the worst teams in the league.
What are we talking about? Chiefs versus Broncos now?
Hey, she got all your guys from losing to the Bengals.
Oh,
the Bengals are actually in the playoff hunt.
Rhonda's in the wrong show. Rhonda, we don't talk about that extensively until Wednesday, which is tailgate talk on Wednesdays. We can talk. In fact, I would like Rhonda to be a caller. Yes, it's a very nice romantic getaway. It's a great opportunity to revitalize.
I could care shit less about Lake Tahoe, to be honest, but okay.
All right, hey, Nando, you want to know who else looks really freaking good at this point? Is 2016 Olympic from Mexico, Delgado. Lindolfo Delgado, 140-pound contender. I think he actually looked even better than Murataya, and he's a sparring partner over at Robert Garcia. So you got a couple of guys there right there, including, I have to include, was it Giovanni Santillan? that recently, these are all guys at Top Rank have been kind of featuring and building up on the undercards of shit. And Giovanni Santillan just blew everyone away in his performance a couple weeks ago. So are these guys on the verge of huge breakout performances like that? Nando, you still with me? I want your thoughts on Lindolfo Delgado as a 140-pound contender.
He's another guy that I was kind of a little bit dubious about that. It's kind of basic, but, you know, it goes to show you, man, when you keep your guys busy and active, they develop. They become better, you know? Unlike what's going on with the PBC where they fight once a year, and when they get in a big fight, the wheels come off. You see the top ranked guys, it's, you know, you might be a skeptic like I was of Delgado or Murataya, but they keep on fighting, they keep on getting better, and they win people over, you know? And that's what I feel about Delgado, man. He keeps on looking a little bit better in every fight, you know? And they're keeping him busy. So, perfect.
Two Mexican fighters I've been keeping my head 140 pounds that I think could be breakout potential future stars if they get the right performance, right matchup, is Delgado, Lindolfo Delgado, and also the guy that's going to get this fight against Ryan Garcia. We're going to see Ryan Garcia in December. Yeah, I'm kind of bashing the end of the year, but we're going to see a lot of the big stars, including Ryan Garcia. We're going to see Devin Haney, 140-pound matchup with Regis Prograis. I think Lindolfo Delgado and who else? Murataya. All these guys are on the cusp of great things and could absolutely be contenders in that division. It's a very talent-rich division right now, 140 pounds and 135. Do me a favor, guys, if you're listening in the chat, does Devin Haney go back to 135? I don't think so. Drew?
I can't see it. It's a mistake for him to go back down to 135, but he struggled to make weight numerous times. It's not a smart decision, and if Bill was smart, he would tell his son, you're done with 135. We're going to explore making big fights at 140. Those names at 140 and everything. And, like, for him to go back down, it's a mistake because he don't have power as it is. Now, if he goes up to 140, he still doesn't have power. That's a problem. But going down to 135, he might be drained.
There's so many big names at 140 for Devin Haney. I think everything hinges on how he does or doesn't do against Regis Prograis, December 9th in San Francisco, my hometown. Rhonda, get on the phone with your boy Roy and make sure Roy gets down to the Golden State Warriors Stadium on December 9th to watch Regis Prograis, a local champion, make his return home. I'm excited as hell to see that. I don't think he moves down. I actually think he's going to pull away with the victory on Regis Prograis. We're going to get into that and do some in-depth analysis. I think he pulls away with that victory and then begin to see the landscape at how many other opportunities there are. How easy would it be for him to snatch, well, if Raleigh Romero still has that belt, to snatch that belt too, and then get into a unification fight with Teofimo Lopez, a huge fight in 2024, unification fight with Teofimo Lopez. Why go back to 135 where you look gaunt as shit? You look awful at the scale.
I look at it like this. If by chance Rory is a champion in 2024, he's going to be put into a unification fight. I just can't see nothing else because PBC is going to be on a different platform, and they're going to have to negotiate with someone and make a unification fight. Because here's the thing. When you're bringing boxing to a new network or something, or platform, you got to show up. You got to show good cards. And because they're not going to, because they look like what Al did to Showtime, what Al did to HBO and everything. This new platform, whoever takes them, is not going to let Al Heyman do that to them. They're too smart, I think, nowadays. And if it's Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV, they're not going to let Al Heyman have final say. They're going to be like this. This is what we want to see. We want these types of fights on there. If you can't produce them, we're not going to make a deal with you. And we'll just make a deal with someone else.
I heard that. Is Efe Ajagba really a top 5 heavyweight now, guys? He was the actual main event of this Lake Tahoe card, Drew. And he beat the crap out of somebody that I've heard he had fought in the amateurs that had a win over him. I don't know if that's actually truth. I haven't researched that. Nando, are you impressed how F has come along? This is a guy who started his career at PBC, has now ended up at Top Rank amongst a lot of great heavyweight contenders, including Baby Anderson, that just got arrested this weekend, Drew. Did you hear that news, Drew? Nando?
I did not hear that.
Nando, you heard the news? Anderson was arrested for drug charges or DUI?
Gun charges, right? I think gun charges.
Yeah, man. I think I'd included a DUI too, if you guys know about that. But obviously a step back, depending on what state you're in, gun charges can be pretty serious. California is pretty relaxed about prosecution on that, but I'll be looking into that case. It's not a good thing for him to be involved in the legal system. The guy seems to be a very honorable guy and taking care of his family. But again, I mean, a lot of these fighters, we just had Devin Haney get arrested in California on a gun charge. It's dangerous out in them streets, you know. I'm not surprised people want to pack. So anyway, guys, is Efe Ajagba really a top 5 heavyweight now? And Chicano Prophet says DUI. They smelled MJ2. Who had the DUI? I don't know. Not a good thing to get arrested though. But Efe comes from Top Rank, Drew. I'm sorry, comes from PBC, and now they talking about he is ready for the likes of Zalil Zhang, who was there in Lake Tahoe. Don't know why, but I like that. I like that he was there as a potential matchup for Efe.
I look at it like this. I think the fight for him is trying to avenge his only loss, which is the Frank Sanchez. I think that will be the fight that he should go after, because it makes it look a lot better if he beats Frank Sanchez and avenge his only loss.
Yeah, I like that.
No way, Drew. No way, Drew. No way, Drew. No way, dude. No. Frank Sanchez is all wrong for Efe Ajagba, man. He outboxes him again, man, easily. I mean, Ajagba should be looking more at Zilly Jang. He's going to sit right there in front of him and throw blows, man. Make for a fun fight. Frank Sanchez is going to just outbox him again, man. He's too stiff. Efe Ajagba is still too stiff, man. He just does a 1, 2, 1, 2.
He's a basic fighter,
repeat, man.
He's a basic fighter.
He's a basic fighter.
Well,
man.
when will they throw his name in the hat with the likes of Deontay Wilder, or float around him as a potential opponent to Ngannou? Obviously, Ngannou's going to be looking for an opponent. He's got to tune himself up with other boxers before he gets an opportunity for maybe a title fight. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Ngannou. Anybody know what's going on with Ngannou? He just had a magnificent performance over Tyson Fury. You'd think he'd be lining something up.
Well, here's the thing. He's promoted by Queensberry, which is Frank Warner. He is promoted by them. They are looking to match him up with a top 15 heavyweight.
Who, Chisora?
Yeah, that's been rumored. Him versus Chisora. And tell you the truth, Saudi Arabia has been rumored to have that fight. And tell you the truth, I don't think Chisora beats him. Like, Chisora is a guy that's just going to go forward, get hit all the time. He's trying to make fights just to make money. He's not doing it to win. And everybody sees it. I'll fight you and everything. I'm going to beat you. No, you're just doing it for the money because you're trying to get a payday now because you're on your way out. You take ass kickings for money now. Just you beat somebody's punching bag. But another name has been blown up was maybe Kingpin Kevin Johnson, possibly maybe someone on the level of a Hellenius. They want someone. They said that he's ranked in the WBC now, so they're looking at fighters that are ranked in the WBC. So it's possibly going to be a top 20, top 15 heavyweight. And we see how he does against them. If he does some work good, he'll move up the rankings. He's currently ranked 254th.
Oh, that's a complete bum. Drew, are you going to... He's probably as bad as Joe Goodall that we just saw get obliterated by Efe. this past Saturday night. And by the way, that one was actually funny, Sin City Syndicate. Zhang was in Tahoe to sleep as well. I have to say, I've gotten there might be something to it because I've gotten some fantastic sleep in Lake Tahoe. And maybe that's why Canelo likes it so much. Maybe because it's boring. There's nothing else to do. You just go there and enjoy the fresh mountain air in the lake and the high altitude training and then get some good rest. Where's the place that Oscar De La Hoya? I know Rhonda goes there all the time. That Oscar used to train in. You guys, what's that town? I always forget that town. Bear, help me out, Drew. You know it? Big Bear, right? Is it Big Bear in California? All right, Little Penny just joined the conversation. He says, hell no, F is not even in the top 10 heavyweights. I'm going to infer, Nando, you said no too, right?
Yeah.
Drew?
Yes.
That's a no for you too?
Nah, no.
I think Anderson is top 5 before Effic, Big Bear Lake. Thank you so much, Chicano. By the way, Rhonda's a regular there at Big Bear Lake. I'd like to check that out someday. All right. He's not a top 10 for some of you in the chat. He's not a top 5 for me.
He's not a top 10.
He's not even top 10?
He's not even top 10 yet. Like, the thing about it is, he's winning, but he's not a top 10 heavyweight yet because there's still too many names in that division that are still relevant, that are somewhat still winning. Tell you the truth, if you want to put him above someone, you put him above Dillian White because Dillian White does nothing but lose anymore.
How about Anderson? Big Baby Anderson.
He's not above Big Baby.
But has he cracked the top 10?
Big Baby Anderson is a top 10 heavyweight.
All right. Well, that was an easy discussion to crack. Let's get over to the DAZN card Saturday afternoon. I really enjoyed this fight, guys, because it's fresh in my memory. O'Shaquie Foster, 130-pound champion from Houston, Texas, versus Rocky Hernandez. He went to Cancun just 2 weeks ago in potentially a fight of the year contender. Absolutely, round 10 is fight of the year. Round of the year for me. I don't think there'll be a better round than round 10 of Rocky Hernandez versus O'Shaquie Foster, the 130-pound champion. Drew, this weekend we got to see England's champion, 130-pound champion, IBF champion, take on a Mexican-American kid that I really haven't followed, who gave him bloody hell, as they like to say it. And his name is, what's his name here? Edward Hernandez from Texas. Gave him a hell of a fight. One judge actually in Monaco had it a draw. And I could see it draw. I could even see it 7-5 in favor of the Texan. And so basically my wife and I are watching. I'm like, if this fight was in Texas, he'd be the new world champion 7-5. But they had it 8-4. The other two judges had it 8 rounds to 4. Cordina. Hernandez, Drew, has gone on, blasted this guy and said, listen, he had no power. I know he's knocked out other people. He had nothing. Rocky Hernandez from Cancun will F him up, drop him, who just lost, by the way. He was winning that fight against O'Shaquie Foster. He said O'Shaquie Foster will drop his ass too. And he said Navarrete, Navarrete who's fighting on that Shakur Stevenson. He said that champion will fuck him up too and drop him. And Cordina said, you caught me on my worst night ever. And I guess Hernandez said, excuses. I would love to see a rematch, but that's not going to happen with him not even being signed to a major promoter that I know of. If you guys do know where this kid, Edward Hernandez, is signed to, he gave a formidable performance on Saturday. And I'd like to know both of my colleagues here. Nando, did you see this fight, this daytime fight, or catch the replay on DAZN? Or even the highlights?
Yeah, it was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. And to be honest, I don't think it was a robbery. I mean, the scorecards were a little wide, but I thought Cordina edged it out maybe by a round or so. And it was a good fight, man. And I think the difference in the fight would have been if he would have gotten knocked down for the Mexican dude. If he would have gotten knocked down, I think he would have had more of a claim on the title. But
there you go.
It was a close fight, man. It was a good fight.
There was no knockdown. In fact, Edward Hernandez, from the kid from Texas, he didn't even look like he was in a fight. So, I mean, there's something to his argument that Cordina doesn't hit as hard as we've seen him in performances in the past on DAZN with some recent knockouts. He didn't even look like he was in a fight. You're right about that, Nando. He didn't have that, ability to say, look, I dropped you in round 3 or anything. It was a hotly contested, close fight. Thought a draw was pretty fair. I thought 7-5 either way would have been pretty fair. But you're in the guy's backyard in Europe, and you would have had to done a lot to take his IBF strap. Drew, Your thoughts on Joe Cordina? He's a former Olympian. He's now a champion. He doesn't have that many fights under his belt.
I thought he lost the fight. I thought the wrong guy won the fight. I had it 7-5 the other way around. I thought the cards are wide, like Nando said. But I want you guys to look at it like this. When PBC tries to match up those certain fighters with Mexican fighters, they succeed in picking the type of Mexican fighter for that fighter. Eddie Hearn has messed up his so-called top champions against Mexican fighters, and all those fighters won those fights by knockout or literally got robbed and kicked out guys' asses. Eddie Hearn has turned into a bad matchmaker. And
that's good for us, though, Drew. Hey, Drew, that's good for the fans, though, man. I want to see competitive fights, man. You sound like a fanager, dude. Don't you want to see competitive fights? Don't you want to see guys in dangerous fights? What are you talking about, dude? You're tripping.
Nando.
Man, you're like Al Heyman Jr. over here, man.
Let me get a point here. It seems that Eddie was trying to do the same thing as PBC and failed. And try to showcase his guys. They turned into great fights. They turned into their guys getting their asses kicked. Oh,
good.
Getting robbed.
Why are you climbing Eddie, dude? I mean, he's making competitive fights. That's what we want. That's what I'm paying for the zone for. I want to see a competitive fight. And I got one. I'm happy. What are we talking about?
You got the fights, but did he mean to make those fights?
I don't care. I got a good fight, dude. I don't care about the other stuff, man. I pay a lot of money for the zone. I got a couple good fights on Saturday on the zone, and I'm happy, dude. That's it. I don't care if Eddie messed up. All these people are trying to clown these promoters for like getting their prospects beat or whatever, dude. They're putting them in tough fights, and that's what we want, man. As a fan, I don't care. I don't care if that guy has 4 losses on his record. If he's in competitive fights and I'm enjoying him fighting, I'll watch him again. I'm tired of these PBC fights where it's a showcase fight. I'm paying $12 a month for Showtime for crap. I'm thankful for good fights, man. Good. He put him in with the Mexican. We put a fighter in with the Mexican, it's gonna be a tough fight. It always is, man.
But
that's how it works, man.
But you know what, Nando? They're the only times that have good fights when you don't expect it, and then not a lot of them. Other than that, the zone does not put out good fights lately, and that's the thing.
Anytime you put a fighter in with a Mexican like that at a high level, dude, there's always going to be a chance there's going to be an upset, dude. That's the way boxing's always worked for the last 30, 40 years, man. That's why people like watching Mexican fighters in a fight. Even if they don't know who the Mexican is, they kind of expect the guy to be competitive the whole way out, even if he gets knocked out. It's just a mentality the Mexican fighters have, and I appreciate it as a fan. And for the reason PBC is going away is because they had too many showcase fights, too many tune-ups. And you can say whatever you want about Eddie, like Eddie was messed up, blah blah blah. I don't care if Eddie messed up. It made for a good fight, and I'm thankful. Bottom line,
maybe the right PBC is going out the way it is.
Yeah, they really don't want to make any good fights.
They put too many.
Yeah, they really don't want to make good fights.
That doesn't deserve to be on pay-per-view.
Oh, what was that? Excuse me. All right.
Put that out there.
I appreciate Marcos. Rhonda brings a friend of her channel. By the way, guys, Walk with Rhonda has a channel. Brings our Marcos, who's a great guy. I've seen him in there. He says, "Hey, Showshine, what's up, my brother?" Well, Showshine is doing okay, but so is the Shoeshine right here. But thank you, Marcos, for joining our show. This fight that we were just talking about, Cordina, guys, this was in Monte Carlo. Like, those of you that watched Vegas content, have you guys seen the content on what it's like to gamble in Monte Carlo? They only allowed 300 people to be in this venue. Look at the backdrop. This shit looks straight out of 007, like a James Bond movie. Like, it could not be a more exotic location for fighting, I guess, than maybe Saudi Arabia now, right? But Monte Carlo, only 300 people are allowed to watch this fight on DAZN, which you guys are debating. Is it a good value? I mean, we'll be debating if DAZN as a streaming app is still a good value, I think, well into 2024. Drew?
I look at it like this. For the value, for what people pay for the zone, it's not worth it. I see a lot of people cancel their subscriptions already. and especially in North America. Now, when it looks for boxing as a future in 2024, doesn't look bright. It doesn't look bright because look at the Fury Ngannou fight. You see how much that did in pay-per-view numbers? Between 100 and 125,000 buys in America. That's terrible. I don't know what, and you look at it, who told these guys that this was going to sell? They expected the MMA community to go buy this fight. No one did that because they didn't expect Ngannou to last that long. So why would they be smart enough to do it? It just really, with people putting fights on pay-per-view is a dead market when it comes to fights, the boxing fights. UFC, that's a different story because they give you the fights that you want to see. They may not pay a lot of the guys the right amount of money, but they give you the fights you want to see and everything. So, like, end of the day, you're already paying a subscription fee to the zone. Get out of the pay-per-view market. You have enough. This is why a lot of your subscribers are turned off, because when you have a pay-per-view fight, they got to pay extra. All you do is give them a $20 discount, and you still pay like $60.
Sin City Syndicate says boxing is an influencer sport. And that's going to take us to the segue as we try to wrap up the next show for the next 15 minutes. Oh, real quick, guys. There was a rematch this week. I know you guys loved...
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave. That Sin City dude's a weirdo, man. How you going to be trying to clown Lake Tahoe, dude? He
doesn't. Well, he must be from Southern California.
Straight tripping, dude. That guy's straight tripping, dude. He must like the mold and the piss stains on Fremont Street, man. That's what feels like that Fremont Street, dude. Mold and piss, man. That's Fremont Street.
That's on a good day. Fremont Street smells. On a good day, Fremont Street smells like
moldy and pissy, man. That's what Fremont Street smells like, man. Give me Lake Tahoe all day. All day.
Call it.
Thank you.
Rebuttal Donato. I want to hear this.
He wants a rebuttal. Exactly. Let's a rebuttal. Tahoe versus Fremont
Street. You can't
Street.
rebut that, Dave. You've been out there, Dave. You've been out there, dude.
Tahoe's beautiful.
Piss on Fremont Street.
24/7,
dude. Come on, man.
No, but here's the deal. I have fond memories of Lake Tahoe with my wife and her grandparents, and we used to take. They were hardcore gamblers, and they would literally we were traveling with people in their 70s, 80s. And that's probably like the last time we took them to Tahoe. They were almost on the cusp of being 90. It's a slower pace. It's not Las Vegas by any means. It's a much slower place. And if you're looking for excitement, that may not be it, but it does offer a lot of other things.
Hey, Dave, my family was the exact same way. Dude, one time we lost our grandpa up there, man. We couldn't even find him, dude. He lost all his money. We started walking down the street, like walking out of Lake Tahoe, dude. On Highway 50, man. We're like, oh, man, where's Grandpa? Dude, we lost him. Yeah, dude. Yeah, a lot of good members of Lake Tahoe, man. God bless.
Yeah. All right, guys. That being said, there was a women's fight. And I know you guys love to talk about women's fight, but I was raving about this fight because Ali versus her name was Guzman. I believe Guzman knocked her out in the first one, and I thought that was the best women's fight of the year. It was very exciting. And that wasn't supposed to happen, but Ali goes to California. She goes to the UK. I believe she's training with Manny Robles. She put on a boxing clinic, Drew. The other Mexican-American girl that had knocked her out looked slow as molasses. It looked like a fluke. It looked like, maybe Ali was caught on a bad day that day, and it didn't result in an exciting fight at all. It actually kind of turned into that kind of a snooze fest we just saw with Amanda Serrano the other day. So the argument about 3-minute rounds, thinking about 3-minute rounds, I'm still going to stay steadfast that I would prefer to see women fight for 2 minutes. And my wife says, you know what? I like 2 minutes. If they want to fight 12 rounds, so be it. If it's a world title fight and they both agree on that. But even she says 3 minutes is too long to watch them fight if it's not resulting in an exciting fight.
Yeah, like they're trying to make that Amanda Serrano fight. That wasn't exciting at all. That was flat out boring to me.
Yeah.
And now I understand if you have fucking Serrano versus Taylor in a 12-round fight and a 3-minute fight, because that was action and everything. But it really seems like, it's just, I'd rather see 2-minute rounds because I'll be honest, I just don't see how more entertaining women fights are. And it's nothing against the women. It's just they haven't shown much to really make it more entertaining. Like, a lot of them just go out and box themselves. They don't go out to try to knock somebody out and everything. And you gotta leave it. You gotta leave it at a certain way. Some things are better not to be fixed and everything. In my opinion, this is one thing that's meant not to be fixed.
Marcos, appreciate Marcos coming in the chat as we segue toward the ending of the show. He brought up a really good question, actually a really good point, and that's if Manny Pacquiao is going to come out of retirement and fight somebody like Tank. And maybe he's seen the chatter on social media. Nando, Manny Pacquiao seems like he's getting really antsy being in retirement. We've heard that he was going to compete potentially in the next Olympics and get to bypass the entire amateur process and just basically be allotted into the Olympics. But now we're hearing chatter that he wants to fight a big name. Is that a possibility, Nando, Drew, that Manny Pacquiao could get a fight against somebody like Tank Davis at 44, 45 years old? He's asking for it. He is actively asking for it.
Of course he can.
You know what? Go ahead, Drew.
He's Manny Pacquiao. What else can you?
Like if I'm Manny Pacquiao, dude, if I'm Manny Pacquiao, I do what Nonino Donaire did. Move down in weight. Move down to 140. A lot of big fights there to be made for him. And he's going to be fighting guys his own size. That would be a massive fight for him to fight Teofimo or to fight Ryan. And to be honest, I think it'd be a competitive fight too, man. I think Manny, I think he should be done at welterweight. No more of that, dude. There's too many big guys there. Too many big punches. I mean, there's not a lot of talent there anymore, except for maybe Boots and Santillan now. But still, man, if I'm Pacquiao, I'm serious about making a comeback. Right. I go down to 140, man. There's Haney right there. You got Teofimo right there, and you got Ryan Garcia, man. And you know what?
To that effect, yeah. Nando, to that, I heard, that they were seriously considering Adrian Broner as an opponent for Ryan Garcia recently, that was on the table. So big names with younger fighters still sells. Chicano Prophet says Tank will take that fight, sadly.
Of course he's going to take it. It's an old Manny Pacquiao. He won't fight nobody in their prime. He won't fight the tough fights, Tank Davis. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think Manny Pacquiao could beat him. And I really think Manny Pacquiao could beat some of these guys at 140 still. Like his style can be very difficult for some of these guys. Like, I think it'll be difficult style for Teofimo. I think it'll be a difficult style for Haney. Prograis. I think Ryan Garcia will have a difficult time with him. Like, if he can have a hard time with Togo and everything, he's going to have a real difficult time with Manny Pacquiao. And he'll probably get caught, too.
Yo, my little dog is 16 years old. I want to give her a shout out. This little dog ain't never been a fighter like this. I've had 5 dogs together with my wife, and this little one outlasted them all. She got no teeth. She's going blind. She decides to raise hell whenever mommy and daddy want to get sexual. She likes to raise hell. 16 years old. She's a fighter. They counted this dog out so many times. She just had like a bladder surgery a year and a half ago. They're like, she's going to die. They gave her this bladder surgery, and she's still here, like, walking around here trying to be on TV. By the way, Rhonda, my dog says she'll kick your big dog's ass. How you like that? I'm just kidding. Rhonda's dog. Rhonda has a massive dog, dude. That dog would eat my dog in a single bite. Is that a Corso? Is that a K Corso? No, but my gardener, my dude that's working on my backyard, guys, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of my backyard, how it's coming along. Of course, when you buy a new house in Vegas, they come with dirt. And it breeds the Cane Corso dogs. And he saw my dogs like, I'll sell you one. I'll sell you a real dog now, bro. You want to get a Cane Corso from me? Sorry, guys. It's been a great time. I'm enjoying having everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody that's new in here. So, yeah, I guess we're all in the consensus. Manny Pacquiao, he still wants to fight. And if he's capable of securing a big money fight like that, and the young champion like Tank Davis wants it, so be it. Let him have it. I personally think from what I've seen of Manny Pacquiao that he wouldn't do well against Tank Davis at all. That's my opinion. I think it's kind of sad that he wants to still fight. There's been a lot of other funny news this week. Devin Haney, of course, is going to be fighting Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis attacking Rolly Romero from Las Vegas, saying he is the saddest champion in all of boxing. Drew, Nando, is this true?
I think Nando got off the phone.
Nando got off the phone. I'm going to cut the phone lines off. Drew, that was pretty funny that he said that he is the saddest champion in all of boxing. Of course, I just saw that with Tony Weeks the other day, and I was all excited to meet Tony Weeks, and I had forgot Tony Weeks is the guy that gifted him that. Just gift him that title.
Yeah, they would have found that out. They would have called him a son of a bitch.
Now I was just like, oh shit, Tony Weeks. Let me get a picture with you, brother. Why is Regis Prograis attacking Raleigh? Is he looking for a unification? I mean, does Regis Prograis, is he overlooking Devin Haney at this point, thinking he could line up the unification with Rolly Romero? And it's not even a given. I think his title is, if I'm correct, I'm trying to follow what the WBA is doing, but I think they're going to give Barroso a chance for the title in recess and then make them fight again, which, Raleigh could lose that fight or he could end up winning it. It was getting kind of hotly contested as the referee Tony Weeks ended that fight. The other funny story that's actually really sad to me is the guy who beat Canelo Alvarez. I'm talking about the fighter Dimitri Bivol, guys. It's almost like everybody forgot the big star in boxing, the face of boxing, recently got schooled by a guy named Dimitri Bivol in Las Vegas about a year and a half back, Drew, now. And Dimitri Bivol can't get a fight. And today he's talking about he'll move down to 168 to fight Gavril. Gavril is a guy that David Benavidez got dropped by. That's how desperate is he that he'll move down to 168.
Well, he wanted to fight Morel. Morel didn't want to take the fight. I think.
Well, David Morrell should take. That's a hell of a fight. If if Dimitri Bivol is serious about chasing money now because he fucked up the rematch, then he needs to take on the best fighters at 168 and come down. Not these type of fighters like Gavril. Oh, I got to get my body acclimated to the weight class and whatnot. He fucked up and fumbled that bag so bad in his negotiation in the rematch that now he's desperate. Like, I'll just chase anything. I'll move up. I'll move down. I'll fight anybody. That is really sad for a guy that literally schooled Canelo Alvarez just a year and a half ago that he cannot get a fucking fight. That is sad. Marcos, where you been? Where you been? Marcos is asking all these freaking great questions. I'm trying to wrap up the show. What are my thoughts of Clarissa Shields versus Layla Ali in their prime? That's a fucking great question. True? Clarissa Shields, Layla Ali?
Layla Ali beats her.
It's sad. It's sad that Layla Ali didn't get that attention she deserved. It wasn't like the prime of women's boxing, but that is a great hypothetical matchup. I had a blast today, guys. We got to wrap up this show. Like I said, this Wednesday night, if you want to talk football and get out all your aggression, I'm going to open the phone lines on Wednesday for Tailgate Talk with Drew. It is week 10.
8-1.
Is that how your predictions were this week? Wait, you talking about your record, the Eagles?
We haven't played our best football, and we got the toughest schedule in the league, and we're 8-1.
Yeah, he's gonna gloat. And Rhonda's Chiefs are right behind you, Drew. And I've got in this book, I've got all our bets from last week. We're gonna go over who the winner was of last week between Drew and I, picking the spreads this Wednesday at 7:30 Pacific. Tailgate Talk. Go watch that Mac Dre documentary I was telling you about, guys. The history of the Bay, this murder. If you like true crime, go check out this Mac Dre because it's an unsolved murder case and one of the biggest hip hop stars of the Bay Area. I'm really into it. I got finished watching that one. Drew, your final thoughts on this week in boxing?
Tell you the truth, I think the next big fight is Andre versus Benavidez.
It is, and the Shakur Stevenson fight. I want to talk about next Monday since we'll have to fill some time. There is some boxing, guys, this weekend. If you have the DAZN app, there is some UK fights. Nothing to really like highlight, even give our thoughts on. And then there's a really cool card in Long Beach that features the sons of Fernando Vargas of Las Vegas. Everyone remembers Fernando Vargas against Oscar De La Hoya. His two sons are on that Long Beach card on DAZN, Drew.
And here's the other thing. Misfits Boxing might be done. KSI has complicated that he may not step back in the ring again since that Tommy Fury defeat.
That is interesting. We'll talk about all that silly shit next Monday on the Shoe Shive and be back Wednesday for Tailgate Talk. Don't forget to drop a comment. Leave me a comment post-show so they see the engagement, if you don't mind, and make sure you hit that jab button, that jab like button at the end of the stream. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week and this Wednesday on Tailgate Talk. Peace out, everybody.